Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus. Early this morning. You know, it is a constant thing that when you are pursuing something or you want to know something, if you focus, you can find answers in almost everything you see. And yet, there are some things that's very complicated, not in reality, but just in the education, the process that's been established to keep you dumb. What I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about today is preparation for life. The perhaps stage you haven't and we haven't focused on for obvious reasons. Maybe. We all are human beings, right? And some of the things that connect us together in that regard is the things that we do: talk, walk, upright, have to eat to survive, etc., etc. And the preparation for that to happen has already been made by the same power that put us here. And I have to give voice to the fact that there's a purpose that's going on. And I don't know exactly what that purpose is. I know a lot of things that's involved in the process, but what that particular purpose is, I haven't been given that information yet. But I want you to know that what has been given to you is one of the greatest gifts that a human being can receive. And yet, that gift is one of our greatest fear. In fact, it probably is our greatest fear that we want to stay away from. And the reason that that happens is because we don't understand it. We don't know what it is. And it is very difficult for any one person to share with another about what it really is. It basically is something that people have to come into. It's like a miracle, something that you've never, ever experienced before. And you try to share that with someone else, just ain't happening. But yet and still, it happens to a or, and of that, a requirement is is made. What am I talking about? I want you to acclimate yourself to the fact that one of your greatest gifts outside of life is death. Life is the awakening, is the awakening. And death is the sleep travels to the next awakening. Make any sense? No, of course it doesn't. But I want to share this with you. The evidence that death, every individual got access to it. Now, this is something that every individual got a right to, and no one can take it from you. No law can be designed that you must follow. And what is it for? It's for getting you out of situations, getting you out of time. We have been given information through nature that is a design for life, for us to walk through life as though we are in heaven, meaning that our needs, our wants, and our desires are met at our leisure at all times. That's basically what it is. And when we talk about the confrontation that comes from evil, it's anything, the most minute, but anything that would infringe itself upon that is evil. It's a cancer, and it must be stopped at its moment of observation. As soon as it's known, never spread. As soon as it's known, it has to do with what we call righteousness, what I call righteousness, and what I call evil. And so, in my efforts of trying to explain to you what's going on in the world, it's just that, ladies and gentlemen. I know we are as we are, but if we want to change, we got to be dissatisfied with what's happening. And anybody that has the experience of pain and suffering want something to happen to change it. But what change is required? What change brings us closer to what we say all say we want, or whether it just scatters us about? when we're following the dictates of people who don't know what they're talking about. You see, there's a scale that you can judge whether your actions are right or whether they are not. On the righteous path, for any, especially on the level of national organizations, level of society, the rules are governed by whether a policy, a decision, how it affects a person, how it affects people, how it affects the nation. Does it cause pain and suffering to anyone, anywhere? If it does, can it be fixed? Can you clean it up? Can you clean it up? If you can, then it is a policy that is feasible. It is a policy that is permitted to exist in the areas of righteousness. What that mean? That doesn't mean everybody got to go for it, everybody want it. No, but it's there for anybody who does. Anybody who does is there for them. That's a decision that the people have made in righteousness as is okay. But the moment that something says, well, there is some pain, it is conflict, and then it has to stop. It has to stop until that gets fixed. That's the path of righteousness. Now, so if you are told that, if you understand that, then you are also given that nothing is supposed to, and as far as righteousness is concerned, nothing, no cancer can enter into this. Even at the point of you laying down your life easy, because you have no part of that. And the evidence that you lay down your life, you're not taking a life. This is your life. This is your choice. Before you let this other stuff come in and make down your heaven, no, baby, you speak to the world. This is evil that's coming in me. I have no part of it. And my message to the rest of us is have no part of it. So I'll die before I go for it. So die. That's the call. Now, what are you saying when you say it like that? Your trust is not in yourself. Your trust is in the power of something else. You didn't have anything to do with coming here and your existence here. And so, what are you worried about? You think all of a sudden you got control. That is an expression of on the other side. Because something comes along in this midst of heavenliness, this midst of righteousness, and says it can be better. And what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me say that all the time. But I want you to know where our biggest problem is. When we talk about the replacement of righteousness, that means what righteousness offers the world. Then the fake will come along and pretend as though it's offering the same thing. Pretend as though it's offering the same thing. So in order to do that, they use money. Money backs up all of their evil things that they've done. Everything that they've been able to recognize, that this power that's invisible, that has been given to the human race, they put their name on it. Mine. It represents to them in their system, in this new system of establishing that there are some better than others and they deserve more than others. In the lie, people living a lie believe this. The world we're living in today, that's believing the lie. This is accepting the lie. It's like in the United States of America, the people that believe the stuff that the Republicans over there on the other side, people who are believing that stuff, they're believing a lie. The people of the world are believing a lie. This is not the way it is supposed to be. We have been tricked to believe that this is the way it's supposed to be. Nobody is supposed to be suffering a lack of housing, or food, or clothing, or education, or anything that exists on the face of the earth that's built by the hands of man. It is supposed to be accessible to anybody who need, want, or desire it. That doesn't mean everybody wants to get everything. But if it's available, if it is available, then it is restricted. If it's available to some, it is restricted to none unless they decide, well, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm not going to buffet today. That's the way it's supposed to be. But when we find that there's in existence rolling stones and stumbling blocks that prevents us. That's because we are doing it the wrong way. And we are supposed to do it the right way if we want to live. We don't blame God. You know, don't walk around there talking, look what God has done. Now, God has put this power in your hand, in our hands. This is a power that we have. And before we accept this evil stuff, we have the power saying to hell with it and die. Leave this stuff to nuts, crackheads, and those wannabe richest people on the face of the earth. Well, let me cut this off and start something else. Talk to you a little bit later.